This little piggy went to market, or at least he's going to. This little guy weighs about 35 pounds, feels more like 100, and he's about 5.5 weeks old. Milk, could you step in here and take him off my hands? Good deal. He's going to make a fine porker in a few months. Well, Washington agriculture is made up of thousands of different crops and livestock enterprises. Today, we'd kind of like to take the lid off of the swine industry, take a look inside, and see the important part that it plays in the total agricultural picture. And to do this, we've called upon our expert, Joe Johnson, a livestock extension specialist here at Washington State University. Joe, what part does the swine industry play in the total agricultural picture of Washington?
Actually, Kirby, from the standpoint of dollars and cents value, derived by the farmers themselves, it's not too important, only about 3% of their total income. But from the standpoint of the fact that we import so many hogs and pork products, and from the standpoint of the fact that we have all kinds of crops which could be fed to hogs, we have the market, we have folks that know how, probably not enough, but we have some. We feel that the swine industry is an important segment at the present time, but should become much more important.
What's holding us up? Why hasn't it long before this become an important segment of our agriculture?
The swine industry, of course, fluctuates very rapidly. It has its peaks and so on and so forth. But that's something that I wish that we could get the answer to, as to why we haven't been able to raise more hogs in this state. Maybe it's because we've had this great influx of folks into the Columbia Basin and on the west side and other places who are row crop farmers, cash crop farmers, never had anything to do with livestock, so there's been a little bit reluctant to move into swine production.
Well, no matter where you drive down the road in Washington, you can always see a swine, a pig someplace. Where are the swine production centers in Washington, Joe?
Actually, if we take a look at the map, we'll see there that our pig is in Yakima County. That, of course, is our most important agricultural county. It's diversified. It has lots of various types of crops we need for swine production. So you might say that actually our hog production pretty much centers in that area. Now we're getting more and more hogs all the time, and it's a good thing. And the newly opened up irrigated sections in the Columbia Basin, in Grant and Adams counties, and some of the surrounding areas there. The thing that surprises many folks is that Whitman County is one of our big swine-producing counties for this.
Well, that is surprising, since we always think of Whitman County as a wheat producer.
Yeah. Now, another important swine-producing area is down in Walla Walla County, and in that particular area there in the Walla Walla Valley.
Every place you've listed so far is on the eastern side of the mountains. What about the western side?
Well, unfortunately, we haven't had too much agriculture of any kind on the west side historically, because it's been, well, outside of, I shouldn't say that, the dairymen and the poultrymen wouldn't like it, but from the standpoint of our meat animals, we just haven't had them. And only in the last few years has the folks found out that they could raise hogs on the west side and probably do it profitably with the small grains that they have.
Joe, you made a point a few minutes ago about this state being a swine importing state. I think that would play an awful important part, awfully important in the fact that there would be a ready market.
We have. Now, we've got 90% probably of our pork and our pork products, I think I said that before, imported. The packers who cut up these hogs and who we talk to state that the pork produced in this state, for the simple reason that we have our wheat and our barley and our oats or other small grains, which do a better job of fattening out and finishing a superior pork product.
Doesn't sound like a porker to me, does it? Well,
that's a calf, but you got to have background. But anyway, it turns out a better product than some of these hogs that are shipped in from other areas.
Joe, I want to thank you very much for being with us. And just before we cancel off here, what about the meat-type hog? Has there been any move toward that type of pig here in Washington?
That's one thing I'm glad to say, is that our Washington swine producers have moved very rapidly, much more rapidly than some of the other areas, to give us a hog with more lean red meat and less lard on him than has been done in some of the areas in the United States.
Good point. I want to thank you for being with us. And we've been talking with Joe Johnson, who is the livestock extension specialist here at Washington State University. been pointing out some of the important aspects of the swine industry here in Washington. And it's interesting that pigs don't play a big part in the total agricultural picture, but nevertheless, they are one of the things that has made Washington State one of the leading states in agriculture. And the point that Joe made on farmers continually trying to improve their swine, going toward the meat type now, shows that they're always interested in providing a better product for you and I as consumers at the meat counter.